Alright, all cameras are rolling.
Good, good. Alright, so Andy, could you start by telling us how long you've been in the force, a little bit about your background?
Right, Andy Peach, I'm acting inspector here at Marlborough Police Station. I've been with the Wiltshire Police for 22 years now. Part of that service was initially uniform starting and then off to CID. CID work, undercover work, drug squad and public protection, managing sex and dangerous offenders and child internet exploitation, online child abuse investigations, and then coming back to uniform work.
Thank you.
One more thing, I'll move you over just an inch or two. Good.
Okay.
That's it.
Great. Can you tell us when the police first became aware of crop circles?
Well, the police first became aware of crop circles when they actually started the initial designs appearing in farmers' crops. Phenomena. Was it spacemen? Had the Martians landed and started to try and communicate with us? Since the very first design is when we first became aware of it.
Well, what was that first design that you were aware of?
I can't remember now. I'm afraid it's been that long ago when the designs first started. I think way back in the 60s.
In the 60s?
In the 60s, when crop designs first started to appear, and Europe and then all around the world. For myself here in Wiltshire, for the 22 years I've been here, the area around Alton Priors, Alton Barns, has been a focal point for designs to appear, and at the sacred site of Avebury, again, designs appearing in the crops for many, many years.
What's the police's official position on the crop circles in terms of who is creating them?
There is, again, the belief, a shared belief that, could it be extraterrestrials trying to make contact with us? Or is it mindless vandalism by a few people that trespass onto the farmer's land, create a design, a picture in that crop, thereby damaging that crop, causing thousands of pounds worth of damage, placing pictures of that design upon the internet, and then interested parties, curious members of the public, flooding to that area to come and view the design, trampling the crops further, causing more damage, more trespass onto the farmer's land without a by your leave, really. It's a pain for the farmers. It's frustrating for the police because of it's after the event that it's happened, normally sort of overnight. Trying to find leads as to who may be responsible is very, very difficult.
Okay. Lead me into my next question. What kind of action, I mean obviously you just kind of elaborate on it, but what kind of action do the police undertake to try and discover the hoaxes? Because there are some regular crews, apparently.
There are regular crews that go out and commit these acts of vandalism. Anecdotally, information comes to us that there'll be one or two individuals that will make the design, choose an area where they want to put it into a crop, make contact with other interested parties by various means of modern communication, and they will meet up in a certain area, then travel to the location where they will then trespass onto a farmer's land and destroy the crop.
What's the penalty for actually trespassing and then vandalising?
Trespassing onto farmer's land is a civil trespass, not a criminal matter. The act of causing the damage to the farmer's crop, because it's a cultivated crop, the time and effort that's gone into ploughing that field, planting that seed, growing that seed, nurturing that seed into a mature crop is thousands of pounds. That's a very serious matter for the farmer. Criminal damage is a very serious matter for the police. Depending on the court system, what the judiciary would dish out to an offender if we were able to catch them and put them before the court. There has been to my knowledge, myself here in Wiltshire, we had the first criminal conviction for criminal damage to a farmer's field at West Overton back in 2001, where a crop circle, crop design, had been put into a field of corn, again reported to us as an act of criminal damage by the farmer, trying to find those responsible locally, not very fruitful from our investigations, but there was a radio broadcast in the States and the individual responsible admitted their part in that act of criminal damage, and we were able to follow up those inquiries, draw a warrant from the court, and went and introduced ourselves to the individual and seized property used for making crop designs and causing criminal damage. And it was quite fascinating in some respects. Some of the designs are absolutely fantastic. They are. You could say they are works of art. Some are absolutely terrible. But they are all acts of criminal damage, unless the farmer has been approached and has given permission for the individuals to go onto their land and to destroy an area of crop or use an area of crop to make that design. The authority has been given. The consent is there. There isn't a problem with that. It's this mindless, we can do it, we want to do this, we'll just go anywhere. But I can't remember the actual sentence that the individual got at this time in relation to that, but he was dealt with and put before the court and sentenced.
That was Matt Williams, was it not? You're talking about who was
Williams, that name rings a bell, I believe it was, yes.
Williams.
Matthew Williams.
Yeah, Welshman living here.
I believe that is his name, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do the police ever stake out popular crop circle sites, like for instance Eastfield, Southfield in Alton Briars?
Yeah, Barnsley.
Yeah, they get hit every year. Do the police proactively stake out these locations looking for hoaxes?
Specifically for hoaxes, no. If I had a magic wand and the budget was endless for policing, then yeah, I'd love to be able to and put staff out there on a regular basis to monitor it, but it's just not possible.
Could you rephrase that question with the question and the answer? As far as what was the question was?
Yeah, do the police stake out popular sites? And you would say the police do not stake out these.
Okay.
Sorry, otherwise
Okay.
it's doing fantastic.
Right. Okay. The police do not stake out the popular sites looking for individuals causing criminal damage to farmers' fields. If I had a bottomless pot of money, then yes, I would like to do that, and a magic wand to be able to produce staff to be able to do that, then we would do it. An offshoot, a byproduct of the criminal damage to the farmers' fields are interested members of the public parking their vehicles in and around the roads that lead to the farmers' fields. They get targeted by another form of criminal who will smash the windows of their cars and steal their belongings. 9 times out of 10 it'll be holiday makers, and they carry their world with them, so it'll be the camera, purse, credit cards, travellers' checks, passports all just disappear. And again, problems and frustrations with trying to retrieve forensic evidence from those vehicles is very, very difficult. And then 2 years down the line, we get farmers and farmhands hand in handbags and bags to us here at the police station that have been in drainage ditches or in the forest for a couple of years. Yes, they still contain some of the credit cards, but cash, traveller checks and the electrical goods have just disappeared, which is it's an unfortunate byproduct of criminal damage to farmers' fields.
Okay. You said when you detained, let's call him Matt Williams, you found certain tools, items used in the hoaxing. Can you describe those kind of items that you discovered?
Straightforward. Farmers' baler's twine and planks of wood. Baler's twine strung through both ends into a loop, and how, if I remember rightly, how Matt Williams described it to me was baler's twine round your neck over your shoulders, step forward, place the plank down, step onto it, and a repeated motion, step, drag, and imaginative designs produced on his computer at home, a bit like a kid's spirograph pictures, if those people that remember spirograph, and he would get a group of people together and hand them separate parts of the design to do, and then meet up, travel off to where they were going to put the design into the field, and each individual section of the party would do their own section of the design.
Okay, we've seen this season on a couple of nights there have been 2 or 3 circles come down at the same time. Seems to indicate that there's more than one crew. There are several crews operating. Would you agree with that? That there are?
It's a possibility. I would agree with that. You know, several crews out there, interested people wanting to put their mark on the countryside. Hopefully, it won't spiral out of control like graffiti and become tagging. I think that would be detrimental to true design aficionados.
Do you ever hear of cases that are a little harder to explain? For instance, a circle showing up in really unusual situation or time scale that perhaps makes, could be something other than hoaxes?
There have been in the past indications when designs have allegedly appeared in a small amount of time that I'm aware of. As I said right at the beginning, could it possibly be people from extraterrestrials trying to make contact with us, or not? Keep an open mind until I'm confronted with it.
Good. Next question leads me there. Have you heard of something called an expulsion cavity, or a blown node? It's odd damage that occurs to the crop that can't really be done with a board in the middle of the night.
Similar to wind damage, atmospherics, yes, I've heard of that type of thing happening, yes.
Okay.
But not an intricate design that, as you see on a lot of postcards and everything that are published these days and in magazines and on calendars, nothing to that degree, that scale, no.
One more question, sorry. Again, you're leading me here to a good place. We've noticed that some photographers, some helicopter pilots and certain tour guides, it's in their best interest that this phenomenon continue. Have you guys ever considered that perhaps there's a little village industry going on here where the photographers might be, or certain parties might be, paying the hoaxers a little extra to continue their business in the fields?
If we were in receipt of any information in relation to that during the course of an investigation, and it led us to an individual that was encouraging criminal damage to take place, then they would be dealt with like any other criminal that was causing damage and being involved in a conspiracy to commit criminal damage. If that being the case, because of the amount of years that crop designs have been being found in crops, in sand, in Europe, all around the world, there is a vast industry that is now behind it. For again, it undoubtedly brings revenue to an area, a revenue for individuals that, as you say, have helicopters that can take members of the public up to see the designs from the air, which apparently is the best viewpoint to actually see something up high. Is that why the Alton Barns, Avebury areas are so popular? Because of the hills along there, Milk Hill, Tan Hill, good vantage points to be able to view the designs.
We've noticed also a lot of campers, a lot of travellers, if you will, both tourists and what would the word be? Gypsies. who
members of the travelling fraternity.
Members of the travelling fraternity,
yeah.
who frequent Knapp Hill. They're always up there.
Yeah.
Adams Grave, Silbury Hill.
Yeah.
Can you confirm that these sites are often visited by people, travellers, campers?
I can confirm they are visited on regular basis by members of the travelling fraternity. Your modern traveller is here for solstice period in the summer, solstice in the autumn, numerous observances pagan rituals at Avebury Stone Circle, ancient monument sites, here on a regular basis throughout the calendar year.
And in that opinion, in your opinion, does that make it harder for hoaxers to get their job done, because these sites are constantly being surveyed, if you will?
You'd like to think they are being constantly surveyed, but yet the travellers are here. These designs still happen, but unfortunately nobody's seen doing them, and they're not reported to us.
Quick break.
Yeah, take a quick break.
Yeah.
They're still here. We have to wait for them.
Just-
All right.
Still rolling?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, in the last 30 years, why do you think it is that so few hoaxes have been caught in the act, and so few circles are found unfinished?
I would say in the last 30 years, and to my knowledge of crop designs being made, why so many people have not been caught, or individuals caught causing criminal damage, because they are not observed in doing it. Lack of tangible intelligence coming to the police for us to be able to investigate.
So that was great, but we've got footsteps.
I wish I'd written that down. It sounded really good, didn't it?
Yeah. I think Charlie, I can't yell at him for walking. That should just wait for them to clear.
Right, they've left now.
Yeah, right. So.
Okay.
That was great. So again, why do you think so many hoaxes get away with it, and why are so few circles found unfinished?
I think in the past 30 years, at least to my knowledge, why so many crop designs have not been found unfinished and people not been arrested or detained for causing that criminal damage is because of a lack of tangible intelligence coming to the police for us to be able to make proper investigations and bring these people to justice.
We've heard that there are some hoaxer kind of headquarters. One of them's the Barge on Honey Street, and the other is the Royal Oak in Pewsey. Are you familiar with these sites, and would you consider going there to perhaps ask questions?
I am aware of the Barge at Honey Street, the Royal Oak in Pewsey, not so much so in relation to being a headquarters for croppies. The White Horse at Coombe Bissett is another public house where croppies tend to frequent, share pictures, designs, talk about the phenomenon, if it is a phenomenon, talk about whatever. Is it criminal damage? Are they gangs of individuals ready to go out there and commit damage, or are they just true believers in relation to admiring the crop designs? I've been to all three establishments on a number of occasions. I've spoken with the proprietors, spoken with the customers, viewed the murals on the walls in relation to designs. Some of them are quite old. Some of the designs stretch back, say, a number of years. But I wouldn't necessarily point a finger at them for encouraging criminal damage. They would be areas where I say enthusiasts go to meet.
Okay. Do you ever get reports of what have been called balls of light or orbs of light in this area?
Reports of balls of light, orbs of light in the sky, yes, there have been over the years reports to the Wiltshire Police in relation to that. Unsubstantiated, when inquired into, number of witnesses, one or two, but nothing more than that.
I guess it's the same question essentially, but UFOs, do you, or has anyone in the police force actually seen one of these things, or are they still?
Having seen a UFO, or a member of the Wiltshire Police having seen a UFO in the sky, I'm unaware of any reports like that of an individual actually seeing it. I myself am not aware of actually seeing anything that was unidentified that I would believe as being a spacecraft.
We actually have seen a few Apache gunships while we've been here, out of what is it, Mill Yallop, or Well,
Yeah.
and Lynham.
Yeah.
It seems to us that the military has an interest to some degree in this phenomena. Have you had any liaisons with them about crop circles?
Myself personally, as a member of the Wiltshire Police, I haven't discussed with the military in relation to local military in relation to crop designs. The area that we police is very close to Salisbury Plain, and again with the military being up there and practicing and pilots training how to fly the Apaches, learning how to fly Lynx helicopters and military aircraft, they'll be in the area all the time.
There's a researcher called Colin Andrews who's been doing this for a long time, about 30 years, and he says that actually back in the early 90s there was an operation called Blackbird, which involved the military and the Wiltshire Police to investigate the phenomenon of crop circles. Do you have any knowledge of that?
No, I'm sorry, I don't know.
No.
You
Just
restate
Oh,
that.
yeah, you have no. I have no.
I have no knowledge of. You said
Operation Blackbird.
Operation Blackbird. No, I have no knowledge of that.
Can we
No.
say that one more time?
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, go. Yeah. In relation to, as you said, Operation Blackbird, I have no knowledge of that operation or Wiltshire Police working with the military.
Hutch.
I'm going to ask a couple questions, but keep your eyes on Charlie.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you this a little differently. I know Charlie already asked you once, but do you think it's unlikely, with the hundreds of crop circles that have been created in the last 20 years, do you think it's unlikely that no one has reported specific individuals?
Do I think it's unlikely that anybody has reported specific individuals for causing crop designs over the last so many years? The only one that I'm aware of that we've had a positive response out of is the inquiry resulting in the arrest and detention of Matt Williams back in early 2000s.
You find it interesting that no one's, other than that one time, hundreds and
hundreds of crop designs have been put into farmers' fields over a number of years, and yes, it is surprising that we don't get more calls naming the individuals responsible to help us to bring them to justice.
That's good. And so have you taken calls from the public from Eyes on Charlie?
We do have, now and again, we get reports of strange lights being seen in fields or people moving about at night time. These have been investigated, but unfortunately not found to be individuals causing criminal damage to farmers' fields. Majority of the time, parties of campers, Boy Scouts and similar, hiking through the areas.
What are the most common and most important crimes that occupy your force and man hours?
That'll be the main crimes that the Wiltshire Police will be dealing with are like any other county force, any other town force in this country. It'll be criminal damage, it'll be assaults, and those assaults have various degrees of what they might be, from the common assault, actual bodily harm, grievous bodily harm, up to your ultimate assault being murder, and that's what takes up a lot of our time.
Could you categorize the crop circles, the trespassing and vandalism, could you categorize that as a crime wave? And are you getting any pressure from the public to solve this crime wave?
In some respects, looking at it, you could say that to class crop circles as a crime wave in a particular area would be wrong at this stage, because there are individual designs pulled over a vast area that does take up frustration, does take up time for the farmers. There was a time many years ago that the farmers anecdotally embraced some of the designs because they were able to draw some sort of revenue from the visitors coming to the fields. But I think as time has gone by and society's changed, an awful lot of those people have lost the respect for the farmer and his land and just trample the rest of the crops and offer no compensation to that farmer whatsoever or token for being allowed to walk on his land.
We've noticed that tensions have been running a little high lately between farmer and croppy or researcher. There's one particular incident involving a shotgun that was quite interesting. Can you talk about that?
Briefly, I can outline what I know in relation to that reported offence where a crop design was damaged a farmer's field. Local gentleman was in the field shooting pigeons. The design had been posted on a website. Members of the public were in the area to view the crop design. At the same time, individual was in the field shooting pigeons. A man in his 40s, I believe, was arrested by Wiltshire Police and is subject of police bail at this time. And I'm afraid I can't say any more in relation to that alleged offence at this time.
Andy, what is the penalty, do you know, for vandalism?
It's varying degrees.
So the penalty for vandalism is, just start it like that.
The penalty for vandalism is on a sliding scale, depending on the cost of the damage that's been caused. It could be dealt with by a mere police caution, or depending on the value and problems caused in relation to the cost of that damage, you could end up with a prison sentence.
Is it also...
Hang on one second. In relation to the incident with the shotgun, are you saying that he was shooting pigeons? Because what we heard is that he actually discharged his firearm over their heads as they were entering the field. Is that incorrect?
Again, rumours abound. I'm unaware of shooting over people's heads. I am aware that there was a man in the field shooting at pigeons. That's as much as I'm able to say at this time.
He was in camouflage gear as well, was he not?
A lot of it. The gentleman was in camouflage gear, but an awful lot of hunters wear camouflage gear when they're out hunting.
Okay. Sorry, Hutch, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if it's a crime in Wiltshire to conspire to commit a crime. So if you have a group of people planning about doing a circle that night or the next week, is that if they're caught conspiring, is that a crime in Wiltshire?
Yes, it is. To conspire to commit a crime is an offence in Wiltshire or anywhere else in this country. A group of two or more persons come together in an agreement to commit an unlawful act, then they would be guilty of conspiracy.
That's all I got, Charlie.
Yeah, that's close to what? Well, you've got a
Yeah,
question?
well, I'm just I'll let you word it, but as far as obviously majority of crop circles appearing in Wiltshire inevitably brings a lot of visitors with, as you're saying, a lot of cars. We've got money boxes being broken into this year, and you've got these hire cars being broken into. Does
Going in, feeding us really,
Yeah.
feeding the country,
Yeah.
and it's £1,000 worth of damage. I say a lot of farmers are taken to now getting rid of the design as soon as they come to their attention,
Yeah.
mow it out to stop other people coming to view it, causing more damage. And again, if you have got other things going on your farm, machinery, you want to go about your day job, members of the public wandering over there, where are they? They don't know the lay of the land. Are there the hidden dangers on that land that they could end up hurting themselves, falling down a pit,
And then suing the farmer,
then
right?
suing the farmer, and they shouldn't be there in the first place.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Alright, we're back. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to rephrase that one?
And direct the question to Charlie.
Yeah, let me think. We know that the majority of crop circles do appear in Wiltshire, and as we've already said, it attracts a large number of tourists who perhaps park their cars in set areas and maybe leave valuables in them, not aware of the risk involved. And farmers are now putting out honesty boxes inside the circles, which seem to be being tampered with or stolen.
Yes.
Does this put extra strain on Wiltshire as a police force, as neighbouring forces don't have to deal with such incidents?
The Yeah, as we said, with the crop designs appearing in farmers' fields, that's criminal damage itself, and that in turn creates another sort of industry of interested individuals coming to view those designs. Holidaymakers come and park their cars alongside the road. Some of the farmers have put honesty boxes at the side of the fields and in the fields near the designs, hoping for a contribution from those members of the public. Some of those vehicles do get broken into by other individuals, come along for easy pickings. Honesty boxes have been broken into and money stolen. It does, again, add a workload to a force that is already trying to tackle crime on a daily basis, to keep the people of Wiltshire safe and to deliver a quality of service to them. It's an added frustration that those individuals come here and take up valuable time when we could be investigating other matters.
Andy, you've been so great about meeting us, taking up your time where you could be solving crimes. So, is there anything you'd like to tell the public to help you in these crimes? Is there anything you could send, a message you can send to people to help?
In relation to members of the public out there that are aware of individuals that conspire to cause criminal damage to farmers' fields by creating crop circles and crop designs, I would encourage them to do the right thing and to report those individuals to their local police, so to give us a chance of actively investigating and bringing these offenders to justice.
I have a question for you, to direct at Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
How much damage? I mean, I don't know if you know this, but this year so far has been a record year in crop circles, and obviously every year there's maybe 50 to 80 crop circles a year in this area. Do you admit that's considerable damage to farmers? And the second part of the question is, how much more do these hoaxers need to do before you think the police will step in and maybe be more aggressive? Because I know you can't dedicate the manpower now, but how much worse does it have to get for these farmers?
In relation to the number of crop designs that we've had during the course of 2009, I believe there have been an increase in those designs in our area. The increase seems to be more and more individuals coming together in pockets around the county to create a design. It does cause frustration, anger for our farmers. They are becoming more and increasingly frustrated with this damage, with this lack of respect that they get from these individuals. We regularly publicise in the local press and request help and assistance from the general public. Should they see anything suspicious, please report it to us, because somebody out there does know these individuals. They are aware of who they are. Help the fellow man and report it to us would be my request, to help us to investigate as a police force and bring those offenders to justice. That is the only way forward, by the community coming together and helping us.
I got one last one. Do you think it's a waste of police time to follow up leads on balls of light or any UFO sightings? I mean, do you see that as a waste?
No. To follow up inquiries in relation to balls of light and suspected unidentified flying objects in the sky, no, I don't see it as a waste of police time. Things happen out of the ordinary. They need to be reported. They do need to be investigated. And each case being investigated, there always has to come to a point when you can only investigate so far. But I would encourage reports to be made to us for us to be able to investigate.
Does it bother you that the media takes such a lackadaisical approach to this, and it's always tongue in cheek, and it's always isn't it funny? They don't really take seriously the property damage, how frustrating it is for you and for the farmers.
With the media taking a lackadaisical sort of approach to crop design, crop circles, I suppose you could say, yeah, it's fair to say they have done in the past. But now because it's been happening over so many years, and so many start to happen that it's taken the mystery away from it. Then is the sea tide changing in relation to that thought process, and will we be helped by the media?
Sorry, I just screwed that up. Perhaps.
Yeah.
Just checking.
What? I don't know, you can't do
Can we do that one again?
Yeah. Okay.
Media approach and how?
Media approach in the past, at the beginning, has been lackadaisical, was comic in some respects to reporting on what is criminal damage. But was it UFOs or was it little green men coming down and trying to make contact with us? Okay, tongue in cheek for the media, for everybody. But time has gone on, more and more criminal damage is being caused on a regular basis, regularly each year, to farmers' crops, especially at this time of an economic recession worldwide. Farmers can't be wasting their time ploughing a field, planting a crop, nurturing that crop for it just to be destroyed overnight by mindless vandalism, which is what's happening. Maybe the tide is changing in relation to that, and the media are actually picking up that, hang on, this is property that belongs to somebody, and these are offences of criminal damage that are being committed by a number of people. That may help to help the community to have the strength to report instances to us, and then the police can investigate and will investigate.
We've actually, there's a group in the States called BLT. They're a scientific research group, and they've actually said that in the studies they've done on this, there seem to be two parts to this phenomenon. They're clearly hoaxed, and then what the hell is this? Then they say that we're not assuming it's UFOs or little green men, but we don't know what it is, and there is a change in the crop. That crop is actually usable. It can be harvested, and it's not dead. If that were made clear to the farmers and the police that this crop is still alive, still usable, and there is a distinction between the hoaxed and the real, would that make a difference to your position and to the farmer's position?
If there was a distinction made between what is an unknown phenomenon and an act of criminal damage, it would greatly assist. I would have said the police effort, because is that an act of nature, or is that a phenomenon that we're unaware of, not an act of criminal damage? That doesn't need to be investigated by the police. The flip side, that is an act of criminal damage. That does need to be investigated by the police, because somebody's responsible for all that damage. So it would help, yes.
Yeah, another one I need to think how to word it, but you were saying about liability of visitors. So if people park their cars up on these 6 metre strips at the sides of the fields and have a prang, if somebody goes over and twists their ankle or something, is there something we can say to visitors, just to reinforce why they're in the wrong, so to speak, and the reasons why the farmers actively try and keep them out of the field?
It's in relation to visitors coming to view crop designs in the fields and trespass on farmers' land. It's a matter for the farmers in what they want to do in relation to that. Those individuals are civilly trespassing upon that farmer's land. Now, the farmer could put up signs, private property, do not enter at your own risk of harm, and there are unseen pits and other dangers on the farmer's land. But then, do the farmers want to turn the rural idyll of Wiltshire into urbanised towns with lots of signs? I would probably say no, they wouldn't want to do that. For people to have respect for the country code and respect for that other people's property, and seek permission and seek guidance from the owner of that land of where it is safe to go to, and could they have permission to go on that land? And that would be a lot simpler, a lot more straightforward. This clandestine sort of let's sneak in and damage the field and then run away. Maybe some of the farmers would welcome, and I'm aware that farmers have done in the past, welcomed crop designs to be made in a crop and have set land aside for that. and then it'd be a matter for that farmer of what he would charge the individuals to do that. But I'm aware that has happened in the past.
As it is that it's just as illegal to trespass during the day as it is during night.
Yes.
The people who come to visit are breaking the law. How often, if you could just comment on how often you receive calls from the farmers, 'cause I know the farmers have kicked off many people. There's always that threat of having the police called on the crappies who are just visiting the circles. Does that happen very often? And
In relation to visitors coming to view the crop designs and trespass on farmers' land, Wiltshire Police do receive a number of calls throughout the course of the year where that people are trespassing on the fields by the farmers.
have anyone ever been arrested, or what's the penalty or fine? Or
In relation to trespass on farmers' fields, it's a civil trespass matter for the farmer to take a private prosecution. It's not a criminal matter and not a matter that the Wiltshire Police would investigate.
I'm done for questions. Does anyone else have?
I think I'm going to stop this temporarily.
Are there any cool little anecdotes that you know of involving UFOs or crop circles coming down?
No, I'm sorry.
Any good stories or anything like that? No.
No, again, there's numerous, or you're on the spot, let's try and think of. There was one year, and I can't remember the year, but a design happened overnight. Alton Barnes was staked out by some, I think, scientists from Japan to try and see if a spaceship was going to come down and create a design. In the morning, a design was in the field and they hadn't captured anything on their cameras, hadn't seen anything, and so say they'd been up there all night, but nobody saw anything. But a design is in the crop. Yeah, design's in the crop. Damage has been caused to the crop. Was it somebody from outer space? Or was it a group of people that wandered up from the local pub and damaged the field? Leave that up to people to make their own decision in relation to that. But if it, again, intelligence comes our way, information comes our way that we can turn into actionable intelligence and draw warrants and arrest people for criminal damage, conspiracy to cause damage, then we would do that.
We like to think Wiltshire as a community is still looking out for each other all the time. We can ask you in your personal opinion, some of these bigger designs that in the locations we've been mentioning, do you believe that with the task force that probably would be required to produce such designs, that could continue to happen without people seeing something, or do you believe that just a few skilled people can do it without lights?
Having not gone into it in great depth, apart from the investigation with Matt Williams, some of the designs are magnificent, and how one or two individuals manage to do that in the course of a night. So for some of them you must need quite a few interested parties, interested individuals to come together as one. Now if you had that sort of drive behind an investigation from the community in relation to capturing the people responsible, it would be fantastic to be able to have a task force of interested people like that to grab some of them and obtain a successful prosecution.
That's very interesting. If we were to happen to be, let's say, on top of Golden Ball Hill or something, and we saw a team down below, what is our legal right or duty to report? Are we supposed to try to do we simply report and wait, or do we try to intercept, block in, detain? What is our right as a? I mean, I guess Mr. Charlie's right as a British citizen. As an American, I'm sure I can't do half the things he can do, but
well,
speak on that. Let's say someone did see it. What should they do?
In relation to members of the public coming across an area where they believe a criminal offence is being committed, of criminal damage being caused to a farmer's field, the suggest would be ring 999 and report it. if possible, stand off and observe and await a police response. I wouldn't encourage members of the public to get involved in tackling individuals that are committing crime and putting themselves at risk and possibly their lives in danger. Leave it to the professionals and leave it to the police.
That's very good.
What else?
Yeah.
Can you just go back and I know we asked this one of the first question we asked you. Can you go back and clarify maybe when you were first aware, or when was the police first aware of crop circles, or?
Yeah, but would you? It was 1960.
I said back in the 60s, in relation to when I was first aware, is prior to joining the police, but for the last 22 years I've been in Wiltshire Police on a regular basis. There have been crop designs and criminal damage caused to farmers' fields in Wiltshire, and there have been in surrounding counties as well. Also aware that the phenomena, as far back as the 60s, started not only in this country but the rest of Europe and in the States. These designs have been, damage has been caused to farmers' fields.
Does the police department have any suspicions that people causing these circles are, as Will mentioned earlier, such a close-knit community from what I can tell, coming from America, that it seems everybody knows each other around here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you suspect, with so many crews maybe going on, let's say there's 3 a night and there's maybe 3 people a crew, that's 9 people, but it seems, we talk to so many locals who own businesses, things like that, and none of them ever say that they know anyone who's done it. Do you think maybe these are people who are seasonal? Like, do you suspect they're local, or do you suspect they're from other places that come here to do it?
There has got to be an element of both this in relation to individuals coming together to commit criminal damage in farmers' field. An element of some locals being involved with other individuals from all around the world that would travel here to take part in causing acts of criminal damage. But it's, again, you can have your suspicions, and suspicion is good, but to be able to secure a prosecution and bring offenders to justice and get them convicted, you need evidence. And that's very, very, very difficult to obtain without the assistance of public-spirited individuals and parts of that community that want to cause that damage.
Since these circles are, like you said, they're appearing in England and Europe, doesn't it become an Interpol matter? Is it something perhaps for an international task force to take on? In
relation to it being a European or international problem of criminal damage to farmers' fields, I would hold back on saying it was an Interpol international task force type role to investigate serious and organised crime, role to investigate local force, local area to deal with as best they can, because it's a local problem for local people.
You done? I think that's...
I have a quick question, I guess. It's not really a question, it's more just, it's not really an official question at all, but...
About crop designs?
We've seen, about actually police involvement in investigation. We have seen, we sit on top of a hill sometimes, and just like with everyone else, we just kind of experience what they do. Because we're also interviewing some people who believe, and so we take part in those activities. And one time we did see, I think it was a police cruiser come through a field of crops with one of those searchlights. Is that a regular patrol that the police? It may have not been a police unit. We figured that the only people who had those side-mounted spotlights were police. And I think I did see it on the top some, not on, but some lights. Is that a regular patrol, or only on a phone call basis?
No, it could be part of a general patrol. If you've seen a vehicle with spotlights going through a field in an area where there has been criminal damage in the past, but it could also be individuals out lamping at night, looking for rabbits and hare, poaching.
Okay.
If you've got a farmer who's really getting quite upset, like I just assume the farmer at Avebury at the minute who has to keep cutting them out, is there some set of advice you would give to them as the police as to how to deal with it, and maybe to calm themselves from overreacting with the public, etc.?
in relation to farmers becoming upset with individuals that are causing damage to their fields, it's crime prevention advice is given. It's not take the law into your own hands in relation to tackling offenders if you come across them and find them, but to, if they become aware of any intelligence that would lead to the police being able to make a worthwhile investigation and apprehending offenders, then to pass it to us. But that would be the general information and guidance that we'd give to a farmer.
Thank you. I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Right.
Yeah,
All right.
good job.
Okay.
We just need one more shot, and that is B-roll of maybe the two of us walking and talking, or you at your desk on the computer. It's up to you, really. It takes literally 30 seconds.
Yeah, whatever you want,
Yeah.
but what's going to fit in.
Yeah. That was great, though. Very articulate. Thank you very much.